like to recognize and welcome the Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Rupnarain. I'm happy that you were able to make it here. Sir Kenneth Hall and other members of the visiting team, Professor Duke and Professor Lutchman, President of the Bar Association, members of the Attorney General's Chambers, ladies and gentlemen of the media. This is an important moment, and the latter, I would say the two professors I mentioned, they're here primarily because they were hitherto involved in this whole question of the establishment of a law school in Guyana. In fact, the Council of Legal Education had given us the permission to establish such a law school well over nearly 2 decades ago. And so a number, including Professor James, who was out of the country, have been laboring in the vineyard, so to speak, to get this, to reach to the situation. You know, we have myriad problems with our law graduates from the University of Guyana. In fact, we, under the collective agreement between the University of Guyana, University of the West Indies, and the Council of Legal Education, are limited to 25 Guyanese nationals. We tried to see if we could get some of the Jamaicans and Belizeans who also study with us, but they were exercising a tight rein on the numbers. And therefore, at the last CLE meeting in Antigua, I think it was, they agreed and they signed a new collective agreement that had been in limbo for some time. And they have limited us to just the 25 Guyanese nationals. It means then, because of those traditional campuses of UWI, Mona, and K-Ville, where I studied, they also are doing the complete LLB program and degree. And so we have hundreds, well, like thousands of LLB holders or graduates who cannot enter into Norman Manley and Sir Hugh Wood in law schools. Not to even mention Eugene Dupuis in Bahamas, because it's so expensive, terribly expensive, and that has its own problems. And therefore, it is very important that this question be addressed. And so we were happy that Mr. Trevor Hamilton, he has been in talks with us, and Superman as he is, he's virtually sold this idea as something that I had to sell myself to Cabinet, because, on our new trust to make a green economy, notwithstanding that we have ExxonMobil output to be on stream shortly, it is very important that this law school comes at this time. And the University College in Jamaica, of course, they do the LLB degree there. And so there would be no question of students to really be part of the law program of what we are supposed to be calling it, the J.O.F. Haynes Law School of America. And those of you who knew that great Guyanese jurist, Chuff Haynes, as we call him, would recognize that is a distinction that is well-founded. So we're here. I'm not going to visit you with our problems, but before this signing, I'd managed to persuade Cabinet to move a bit, and they were able to make a contribution to the 50 students that we have at the UWI Law School, and that is only up to 2018. And that's why it's important that we be able to get this law school up and running by that time. And I'm very confident that we will be able to, feasibility studies notwithstanding, we'll be able to see that this establishment of such a school would bear fruit in Guyana. And so I would like to thank Mr. Trevor Hamilton and all the other visiting associates for moving diligently on this project. I know you've been behind me. You visited me earlier. And as you know, we have a focus on engineers because we intend to open up the hinterland. We need physicists, chemists, and the technical types, engineers. And people feel that the glue of society, we who are the glue of society might not necessarily be a priority, but it always ends up in the law, whatever we do. And because it's always important to restore and to maintain respect for the rule of law. And without further ado, I would like to say congratulations to you, Trevor, and your team in bringing us so far. And I think that a bright future beckons for this law school.
We did introduce the partners. The partners are Government of Guyana and the Jamaican joint venture partners, UCC, and Caribbean and Law College of the Americas, LCA. The school will operate, Guyana being a sovereign state, Guyana got, as you know, the right and approval to operate a law school, a very coveted institution one would want to have in the country. It will operate under the auspices of the Caribbean and of the Council of Legal Education, which is the accreditation body, the certification body, which makes it a law school in a single governance oversight, regulatory oversight, regional oversight, which is the CLE. Therefore, to be a law school that operates just like the one in Trinidad and the one in Jamaica, and of course the one in the Bahamas, the graduates from the law school will be called to the bar in Georgetown, I suppose, and then come to CARICOM. Since it comes under the common CLE, they'll be called to the bar in all the other CARICOM jurisdictions if they so pursue, so they can go and practice in Jamaica, in Trinidad, elsewhere in the region. The school will be named after your great son, or one of your great sons, Jeff Haynes. Like the minister said, law helps, is a catalyst for modernizing any economy that I know. So far, many of the economies in the Caribbean are emerging into new economies that law school maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, those subjects weren't taught. For example, you didn't hear about cybercrime maybe 30, 40 years ago. You didn't hear about environmental law maybe 30, 40 years ago. You didn't hear about sports law. Those are what we're talking about. So our lawyers, we are looking, the lawyers that we want to produce will be lawyers who can make major changes and help to accelerate modernization. But then the school being in Guyana is not just going to be training CLEs, because law, like any education, my friend, require ongoing what we call continuing education. I'm sure every lawyer on Crowell Street, that's the main street like Duke Street here in Jamaica, every lawyer on Crowell Street here needs continuing education. We worked a lot in the justice system here, and I can also tell you every judge here needs continuing education. Every DP, every prosecutor needs continuing education. And therefore, that's going to be a major market as well for continuing education. You can create a new industry, all sorts of new industry out of law. We are looking at the vision, the bigger picture, the export, not just to train the conventional lawyer, but to look at the whole legal industry and the legal service industry. What is it about the, so I've talked to you about the sort of product. What is it about the investors? The investment model that we're trying to use will be Government of Guyana, the private sector, so this is a private-public partnership, but we structured it in such a way And all the specifics are not there yet, but we're structured in such a way that we see an education center as one that calls for many players. We see it touching most Guyanese lives, even whether you're police, the police force, the judiciary, and the paralegal industry. What are some advantages this partnership brings? Well, first of all, economic. One, I don't think Guyana could go it alone because I don't know how many students, LLBs you produce at UG, but we'll talk about that. But in the last 20 years, 15 years or so, we have moved tertiary education in Jamaica from maybe under 10% of the age cohort to now 29%. So I tell you the kind of growth we've had in our tertiary education in Jamaica. And between UTech, University of Technology, and what UCC offer, and several other schools and the online business, a lot of LLBs, we're saying that this partnership is going to make it, give you what you call the economy of scale to produce at a. The other thing is that when you hear about government schools and institutions, we expect government as a partner, yes. They will provide certain things, maybe not all cash. We have a lot of money, I don't know, but not all cash. We expect things like whatever Go Invest offers to investors. Go invest at your Guyana Office for Investment. We'll be talking to them. But at the end of the day, it's going to operate as a business. So it's not a burden, to fiscal burden, in a country where the fiscal space is very limited. So subsidy is not what it's into business for when you're in a business, an education service. What it will do also, another benefit, is that many Guyanese who couldn't afford to go to Hugh Wedding can stay at home, and many Jamaicans too, can stay at home here and afford, it can become more affordable. And I'm sure Guyana is one of the cheapest places in the Caribbean to live, and so we're not expecting it to be burdensome. So it will offer a lot of cost benefit to the rest of the region. I cannot predict what the growth will be at this time more than to say that because of how we're going to develop a whole set of products, continuing education products, specialized products, CLE, typical CLE certification product, I don't expect the school at any time, well, the school will start off, you don't have to have bricks and mortar to start off. When you start in a business, you take the first step, even if you don't have roof over your head. You take the first step. So we are hoping that in September, the first cohort will be out there starting up between UG and I'm sure UG will be our institutional partner in the school here. We expect to start. We are going to work to start September this year. All in all, we can say because of the law school here and what we know, law and the economy of Guyana will not be the same again.
I am delighted to hear about the prospect of the law school. We are, I think, rightly proud of our education institutions in Guyana, and we certainly at the ministry are working very hard to ensure that all through the system, starting in the nursery and primary schools, all the way up to the university, that we can provide seamlessly the kind of modern education that our children and our youth need. Basil knows that he can rely on us for all the support that we can deliver, and in the sense that the law school is going to be here, and I know there's been talk about the law school for really quite a long time, and to see it actually happening is, I think, very, very satisfying and very fulfilling.
I am delighted to be present here in Georgetown, Guyana. On this auspicious occasion, I have had the pleasure of visiting Guyana, including the interior of Guyana, on many previous occasions, but it has been quite a while, and so it is a particular delight to be here once again. Education has the purpose of elevating us from who we were to who we are and to whom we will become. So education links the past to the present and the future in a particularly dynamic and compelling way when the proper context is put in place. Education also brings people of diverse backgrounds together to collaborate effectively on the basis of common social understandings. And I say this because the partnership upon which we're embarking exemplifies this concept very well. This partnership between the government of Guyana and the University College of the Caribbean Law College of the Americas will assuredly help to bridge the significant gap between the demand for legal education in the region and the provision for such education. One of the advantages of the new Joe F. Haynes Law School is that it will allow increased access to more law students to have the opportunity to study, given the challenge of space availability and the very long waiting list that we have observed in the provision for legal education in the region. Such programs of study typically include the traditional basic legal skills of concise and pertinent oral argument, systematic and relevant presentation of essential issues, clarity and precision of written opinions, and detached and balanced judgment, which are also useful skills for other professions. And I think Dr. Hamilton referred to this briefly. Other professions as exemplified by the civil and police service, accountancy, banking, commerce, many other aspects of business in the region. So there are synergies and forward and backward linkages which we need and will and expect to exploit. Our partnership charts a new course for Caribbean cooperation between sovereign states and institutions of higher learning, and also paves the way for other such collaborations in the future, leaving an enhanced legacy for generations to come. The University College of the Caribbean Law College of the Americas is excited about this partnership with the government of Guyana as we begin the new year of 2017, which is replete with new opportunities and possibilities.
Distinguished ministers, distinguished members of the head table, members from the Bar Association, justices, members from the Attorney General's chamber, special guests, and the media. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We are honored to be part of this historic moment, a moment of history which sees the people of Guyana being afforded the opportunity to have its own law school. I must congratulate the government of Guyana for its foresight and its commitment to education, as evidenced by this public-private sector partnership with the Law College of the Americas and the University College of the Caribbean. It is a dream that has become true. Indeed, in the not distant future, when we look back at the trajectory of legal education in the Caribbean, today, this moment will go down in history as singularly one of the most outstanding moments. The execution of this memorandum of understanding between the government of Guyana, the Law College of the Americas, and the University College of the Caribbean to bring to fruition the Jeff Haynes Guyana Law School of the Americas. The strength of this institution will be its capacity to end the divide which caused duly qualified professionals to be unable to access a law school to complete the process of realizing their dreams of becoming a lawyer due to restrictive rules and practices. This PPP will revolutionize legal education in Guyana and the wider Caribbean as we challenge historical practices and venture into this new phase. The visionary president of the Law College of the Americas, Dr. Velma Brown, has said that the Jeff Haynes School of Law will position itself as a catalyst for the new economy and for the region and other developing countries, and that it solidified the vision of law. The Board of Governors of the Law School of the Americas, led by myself as chairman and the president, Dr. Velma Brown, gives its unwavering commitment to seeing to the implementation of this partnership. The University of Guyana is indeed one of the finest centers there is of legal education in the Caribbean, as evidenced by its eminent graduates, professors, lecturers, and its offerings. We, as the partnership of the Law School of the Americas and the University College of the Caribbean, look forward to working with the University of Guyana as we jointly strive to develop this school, which will undoubtedly be a center of excellence in law.
Speaker of the House, Dr. Scotland, the Honorable Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General, the architect and the visionary behind today's proceedings, Mr. Basil Williams, my minister, the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Ruth Ryan, Professor Gill, Mr. Winter, I see Professor Lakshman, other colleagues from the University of Guyana, some visitors, welcome to Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, if I look back, sorry, Madam Jem, the President of the Bar Association, if I look back to the experience that we had together in Antigua in trying to secure a signature of the agreement among the University of the West Indies, the University of Guyana, and the Council for Legal Education, I think those of us who are in Antigua, AG, understand how important this event is today. Because one of the things that a law school can do, I don't know if this law school will do that, is to remove what has been a challenge to graduates of the University of Guyana for a long while in securing the LEC. The interesting thing about that is one acquires an LLB, and before one can be called to the bar, one must acquire an LEC. But the spaces are limited physically, and so one is precluded from acquiring an LEC not on the basis of merit, but on the basis of physical space. And there's something in that narrative that has not been quite right for a long time. And if the J.O.F. Haynes Law School will reverse this situation, that in itself must be something positive for our graduates and from anyone who seeks to be admitted to the bar. And so, AG, I want to salute you today for moving forward with this. Obviously, there has been much work in getting us to this point, and there's a lot more work to be done, with some politics and economics thrown in. But I hope that, as you have done with Dr. Hamilton's able, invisible hand, that we will be able to move forward and get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. Let me say that in looking forward to a law school of Guyana, to my legal brothers and sisters, as a citizen of Guyana and the Caribbean, I look forward to something more than enabling practitioners to practice in the region. I think it is time that we engaged in, as Professor Gill has said, studying other areas of the law that are so essential to our national development agenda, but also our regional development agenda. And I hope that the law school will go beyond just getting people out with an LEC to be admitted to the bar, to go not just on Crow Street, Trevor, Church Street, North Road, etc., to stand before the courts, as noble as it is to do so. But we do need in this country and in this region legal academics. And we do not have sufficient study of the law from an academic perspective as opposed to a practical perspective. And I hope that the law school will contribute to this.